just by the letter. It doesn't matter.
I'd like to call the meeting to order.
Oh my God, it's driving us nuts.
Welcome
Just
to
crazy.
the Board of Education for the School District of Waukesha, July 9th, 2014, full board meeting. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sue, will you please call the roll?
William Baumgart,
Here.
Barbara Brezink. Here. Steve Edlin.
Here.
Ellen Langell.
Here.
Patricia Madden.
Here.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Here.
Kurt O'Brien.
Here.
Karen Reinacek. Here. And Joseph Como.
Here. And Sue, also, can you please verify that the meeting has been properly posted?
Yes, it has.
Thank you. Typically, we like to start off with bright lights, but we don't have that this evening. However, we do have some recognitions, and Chris Hedstrom, will you please step forward and recognize those people who are deserving?
Good evening, everyone. As is our tradition, after we hire our new administrators, we give everyone a chance to put a face to the name and give you an opportunity to get to know them a little bit better. And I have 3 of our new administrators with us today. 2 are not really new people to the school district of Waukesha. We did have some internal promotions, and then we do have one external new employee to introduce to each of you today. The first person I'd like to introduce to you is Heidi Williams. Heidi, could you join me, please? Sure. Heidi Williams is our new principal at Higher Elementary School, replacing Stacy McCoy. Heidi's already begun, she just hit the ground running. She comes to us from Kewaskum School District, where she served as a principal there, and has been very active in the innovative practices that they were doing in Kewaskum, and I know that it's a big loss for them, but a huge gain for us, and we've enjoyed working with Heidi so far. So please welcome her.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Board. I am really excited about my opportunity with Waukesha School District, and I want to thank you. I really enjoy the staff out at Higher already. I've made a lot of great personal connections. They are phenomenal teachers, and we've got a lot of things set already for the 14-15 school year, and I've started a community blog with them already where we're doing discussions together, so I'm looking forward to all that you can offer.
Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Bob Lessington. Bob, would you please stand up? That's like
They wouldn't miss
Bob Lessington, you know as the associate principal at North High School, and you recently promoted him to be the principal at Hadfield Elementary School, replacing Grace Hess. Bob has been with our school district for, boy, how many years?
6 years.
6 years, and he's been very careful about what type of a position he would like to move into, and we are so glad that we were able to keep him with us here in Waukesha, and he too has been hitting the ground running, as they say, and has been working to get his school up and running in time for the fall. So, Bob?
Yeah, thanks everyone. Again, I think I've had probably one-on-one, or at least conversations with a lot of you, so I really appreciate the opportunity I'm going to have at Hatfield, and I couldn't ask for a better position. And every day when I've started showing up more and more, I know it's the right fit for me, and I'm just very honored and privileged to be able to serve the Hatfield community, and in this capacity, I really, like I said, I couldn't ask for a better situation. So thanks, and you guys are always welcome to stop by Hatfield anytime, or if you need to reach out, or if you have any questions or concern. Feel free to give me a call or shoot an email or stop by. So thank you so much.
I didn't set you up for the clap before, sorry about that. And I just have to say, being in human resources, it's so nice to be working with such happy people. You know, it's like every once in a while you just get to do something really fun, and it's been a lot of fun getting to know these principals. The next person I'd like to introduce to you is Stephanie Blue. Stephanie Blue, would you please join me? Thank you. Stephanie has served in our school district for 2 years. 2 years as the humanities coordinator. Humanities encompasses English and social studies, and she did some world language work at the secondary level. And Stephanie is just a really, really talented person, has a real knack for connecting with people, and decided she really wanted to be in a school and work with kids some more and dig in deeper in the building leadership aspect. So she's already been working with Tim Joint at South and has been involved in, as far as from my perspective, I see her name come across recommendations, as I do with Bob and Heidi. So she's digging in deep and getting a lot done already. So I'd like to introduce you to Stephanie.
Thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity. I'm so excited. I spent 18 years in education before coming to Waukesha, and I can't tell you for me, I've said this many times, but a breath of fresh air it's been to join this district, and I found what I consider to be a real home in Waukesha, I'm hoping, and so this is just kind of my next step in the journey. I desperately missed being around high school students, and so this is going to be, I think, a great fit for me. Very talented staff and incredibly talented administrative staff that I'm excited to work with, and yeah, I'm ready to go. Very excited for the journey, so thank you.
Well, Heidi, welcome to our district. Thank you for choosing us to become a part of us. And all three of you have accepted really important leadership roles. And we wish you the best of luck. And this board always is open to hearing from you too. We consider us part of your team, and you're part of our team, and we have to work closely together. And so anytime that we can be of assistance to you, reach out to us also. And we all look forward to visiting your buildings when we get a chance to do that throughout the year. And we know this is actually, a lot of people think this is like downtime, but not for the leaders of our district. And you guys are going to be super busy getting ready. So we wish you luck with that. Moving on, we typically have reports from our student representatives, but they're on break right now, enjoying the summer. So we'll move into our chance for our citizens to address us. We allow our citizens 3 minutes to address our full board. After 2.5 minutes, Barb will signal that you have roughly 30 seconds to wrap up your comments. We expect the audience will be respectful of the speaker and of the Board of Education, and will refrain from verbal comments, cheering applause, or other behavior that will detract from the meeting. Also, in order to respect our speakers and meeting participants, please silence your cell phones. And we have just one speaker tonight that is signed up. Paul Reese, will you please step forward?
I'm Paul Reese. Tonight we'll talk about Common Core, and I'm an opponent of Common Core. I find it deceitful from the beginning when people say Common Core is about a set of standards and not curriculum, or how can one not influence the other. From a quote from Dr. James Morgan of Stanford University, the only mathematician on the validation committee, said that it's almost a joke that a student would be prepared for university level math after having completed Common Core curriculum. And he uses curriculum. And here's how the standards affect curriculum. As one example is the Common Core standards intend to move Algebra 1 from 8th grade to 9th grade, which it'll be moved, which gosh darn it, we'll move it from eighth. One example is that Common Core standards intend to move Algebra 1 from 8th grade to 9th grade, which the move will make it more difficult for students to reach calculus in high school, which is expected by selected universities. Common Core is intended to take education out of the hands of people like me, people, the students, and even the school boards, and move it to a federal level, where I've been told here that we can still have some say in it. And the most say you can have in influencing the curriculum is 15%, when all is said and done, is all that'll be allowed. We just celebrated a man named Les Paul and had his name put on Central Campus. Les Paul didn't graduate high school, but when Les Paul did leave high school at 10th grade or 9th grade, whatever he dropped out at, he had a 9th or 10th grade education. This past month, we just graduated, I don't know how many students, at a 90-some% rate. How many of them actually had a 12th grade education? I would like to know. This is, the more government has influenced our education, the lower the standards have become, or the lower the quality has become. We talk about completion rate. We have a high percentage, we have a 96% completion rate, graduation rate. It is a higher percentage, but a lower quality. At least when Les Paul went here and he dropped out at 10th grade or whatever it was, he had a 10th grade education. Look at what these men did. I have uncles who dropped out of 9th grade who are bosses. My dad dropped out of 10th grade. He became hired as an engineer and was a great machinist. It was that generation prior to us, that generation, my father's generation, who were doers, who got an education, were able to do things. Today, if you drop out of high school in 9th grade, you don't have a 9th grade education. You'd be lucky if you have a 6th. And that is a shame, and this does not address it. Raising standards, we have standards in this state. Doesn't mean that every school board meets, or every school district meets those standards. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the board at this time? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to our minute approval. We have minutes for June 11th, 2014, June 12th, 2014, which was the executive session for expulsion panel, and June 18th was a special board meeting. Do I have a motion? Moved by Ellen Langell, seconded by Mr. O'Brien. Any discussion? Ms. Brezink?
She's still the clerk, right? She can sign off. It would just be noted in the minutes that she was excused.
And we do have one minor change to the June 11th full board meeting. The chair of F&F is Kurt O'Brien.
You got that?
So- Okay, Sue, any other discussion? Sue, will you take the roll call vote?
Barbara Brezink. Aye. William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek. Aye. Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Ellen Langell.
Aye.
Steve Edlin.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 9-0, Sue. We'll move on to our communications. Mr. Gray?
I have a number of things this evening. First of all, I have received a nice postcard from some of our FBLA students who are in Nashville for the national competition, and they tell me they're doing very well so far. So thank you for that nice note from the students. Another letter from Dave Sternig, Commissioner of the Classic 8. He's congratulating Waukesha South High School for being honored by their peers with spring sportsmanship awards in boys track, softball, and boys golf. Another letter from Mr. Sternig. He is announcing that the girls track team at Waukesha West was honored with the Jim Barron Sportsmanship Award this spring. This award is named after Jim Barron, a longtime track official in our area who who recently passed away, and his family established this award. So congratulations to the West Girls Track Team. And yet another one from Mr. Sternig, congratulating Waukesha West Girls Softball Team for winning a Spring Sportsmanship Award. And finally, another letter from Suzanne Kelly and Mary Bear of the Waukesha County Business Alliance discussing the success of the skills program. 14 school districts participated that, and they had taken over 1,200 students and educators and parents on 42 manufacturing tours. And obviously, this fits very well into our MAID program. And I think we're doing as much as we can to help the issue with the skills gap, and we're going to continue to expand and improve those programs. And that's my...
Yeah, I'd like to pass my condolences along to the Barron family. Jim Barron started thousands and thousands of track events and cross-country events. And I would bet, well, he started the majority of my track races and cross-country races, and he worked pretty much through his whole adult life in that capacity. And he will be missed. He was a great leader within the track and field and cross-country area. And we also have a report from Barb Brezink on the Waukesha Education Foundation. Barb?
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'd also like to thank you for the honor of having me participate in the Waukesha Education Foundation Board. They do some very, very important work in our district, and we certainly appreciate what they do to support student learning. The Waukesha Education Foundation continues its work to raise funds which provide resources for the educational enrichment of students in the school district of Waukesha. These funds support innovative and enrichment projects that are not typically funded by the school district. The WEF recently awarded 13 grants for the 2014 school year, totaling approximately $18,000. Over the 10-year history of awards, all schools and all grade levels have benefited from this grant opportunity. The history of grants, which began in 2004, can be reviewed on the WEF website. One of the foundation's annual events is a celebration of excellence. At this year's celebration, the public will have the opportunity to see firsthand these grant dollars at work, where students and staff will showcase the grants awarded over the past several years. This event will be held on Sunday, November 2nd, from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock at South High School. Is free, open to the public, so mark your calendars. Planning is underway, and more details will be shared over the next few months. And by the way, there's no Packer game that Sunday. Finally, very important. Finally, the Bob Duckett Memorial Golf Outing is coming up on Monday, July 21st at the Legend of Merrill Hills. This annual outing is one of the foundation's popular events, and there is still time to sign up for golf, dinner, and sponsorship opportunities. We encourage anyone interested to go to our website and click on the Bob Duckett Golf Outing option for registration information. Please feel free to visit the website for additional information about the WEF and all the activities. And the address is waukeshaeducationfoundation.org. That ends my report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mrs. Brezink. And I know Todd and Bill will be playing. Ryan will be in the tournament also. Ryan's kind of laughing as he's trying to prepare, right?
Gets the ball a long way, can't wait.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Mrs. Brezink. We'll move on to our Safety Committee report given by Mr. Baumgart.
Okay, the Safety Committee is not meeting in the month of July. We don't have any report. And I can move right into
Sure.
the charter. Charter report also will be short. Just wanted to remind you that we did meet in June, this board, and approved the charter contracts for STEM and eAchieve, and under consideration for the next time we meet will be the WIPA, the Engineering Academy, and the Health Academy contracts are being worked on. I also have a report of the graduates from the Health Academy. Last month I had some on the Engineering Academy, but I have the reports on the Health Academy and their plans for the next step in their education. I'm just going to summarize it because I'll be putting a more detailed report in the packet this Friday. But we had 48 graduates, excuse me. 33 of the 48 will be attending four-year colleges, just as an idea of where they'll be going in the state system. Madison, Oshkosh, Milwaukee, Whitewater, and La Crosse are going to be attended by one of our graduates. Other local colleges, Marquette, Concordia, Carroll, will be attended by some, and then we have some that are less local. Edgewood is in Madison, of course, Marion, University of Alabama, Birmingham,
Wow.
Barry University in Florida. I'm not familiar with that one at all. Are you?
Oh,
Okay.
I am.
And St. Olaf, I believe that's in Minnesota.
That's Minnesota.
So we have 33 kids going to four-year colleges. We have 9
School.
that will be attending UW Waukesha, and we'll, of course, be determining where they go further after that. We have 3 in the military, 1 in the Army, 1 in the Air Force, 1 in the Marines, 2 going to WCTC, and only 1 undecided. So we have quite a plan laid out for those 48 graduates. And again, I'll include a more detailed report with the student names in Friday's packet.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Baumgart.
Barry University is a great baseball school.
Ted's been scouting it?
They teach sports medicine there.
Yeah, it's a good school. I visited there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's my end of my report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Baumgart. We'll now move on to our consent agenda. Lori, did we receive any gifts this last month?
We did. We received 2 gifts of materials that were donated to West High School. Industrial shelving, with an estimated value of $17,500, was donated by Alpine Plywood Corporation. This gift will be used for storage at all 3 high schools in their technology education departments. We also received steel plate with an estimated value of $600. It was donated by Super Steel Corporation. This gift will be used in the metal fabrication classes at both West and North High Schools.
Thank you, thank you. It's always wonderful to see how generous our community is, and we thank you for your gifts.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Edlin.
I just wanted to make one personal note in there. As everybody knows, I went to Milwaukee Tech High School. And the shop class that I had was called Welding and Metal Fabrication. And in my senior year, I worked in a half-day work-study program. So I attended tech in the morning, and then I would take a city bus to Super Steel Products and work in the afternoon. I worked there for 5 years until I moved to Texas to get into the apprenticeship. So
Yes.
there's a long history there. It's a very interesting connection.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Now, your agenda includes various categories for approval. If any board member wishes to have an item set aside for separate consideration, you will have that opportunity to do so. Included in your items for approval are decisions of the expulsion panel, which met on June 12th, 2014. A confidential communication regarding the details of the expulsion was in your packet on Friday, along with the minutes included under item 1G. If any board member wishes to discuss this item, we have scheduled an executive session at the close of the regular meeting. Approval of the consent agenda confirms full board agreement with the expulsion panel's action. If any board member wishes to have an item set aside for separate consideration, please indicate at this time. Okay, seeing none, Mr. Edlin, will you please present the consent agenda for approval?
Thank you, Mr. President. By the way, you're doing a marvelous job as president.
Thank you, sir.
That's nice.
I have a good team behind me.
Earlier this evening, the Human Resources Committee approved of 4 resignations and 13 contracts for the 2014-15 school year. This is in addition to the 13 resignations and 17 contracts provided in your meeting packets and also approved by the Human Resources Committee meeting earlier this evening. The addendum was placed on your desk tonight. Mr. President, I move that the consent agenda be approved as amended.
There's a motion. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Brezink. Any discussion? Okay, Sue, will you call the roll call vote?
Steve Edlin.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek. Aye. Barbara Brusink.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Ellen Langell.
Aye.
Joseph Paul.
Aye. Passes 9-0. Sue?
Thank you, Mr. President. We have one action item, approval of the that will come under the Human Resources.
We'll wait just a
Committee
moment.
report. Yep, we'll hold off on that
We'll,
one.
we'll move on to Todd, though.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll keep it short.
Superintendent's report.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, we have a major professional development opportunity for staff, and we'll have somewhere between 700 to 800 teachers in working on this, but it's literacy professional development sessions. It'll be held at our various high schools. If you're interested, you're certainly welcome to come at any time and see those, or come for the lunches, but if you're interested in any of those programs, Chris Garcia in Bob Antline's office has the information on that, on which programs will be at which high school. But we're very excited about this. We're bringing in some top-notch literacy trainers from University of Arkansas who currently have the top program in the country right now. So this fits very well in our primary goal of reading and literacy, which the board has set, and that's going to continue to be a ongoing goal for the next year or so, or longer than that. But that will begin on Monday. Policy Committee, we were scheduled for July 15th. However, I believe one or more committee members has a conflict, so I will ask Lynn to call the committee members to see if we can find a date that works a little bit better. We don't have a lot. I'm trying to hold committee meetings when we have more than one or two items, so that it makes it worthwhile to come in and set up and so on. So right now, we've only have one or two minor items. Finally, we have our consideration committee has been established and commenced work today in regards to a complaint about a book that was received on June 14th, and I will keep you updated as to their work. Today was the organizational meeting. David Laborde was established as the chair of that committee, and they will continue with the work per the policy.
Mr. Gray, could you share the members of the committee with us, please?
I don't have the list of names
Okay.
right now, but I will send that out in the packet.
Thank you.
So.
Dr. Langell?
Well, I was just going to ask the same thing, because I had called to ask about that, and Sue gave it, gave it to me, somebody
Okay.
did.
Great minds think alike.
And well, I wanted to see today.
Really
yeah,
solid list, it's a
yeah.
good list of people.
But one of the things we had to do was to make sure that one of the questions I had asked the group was if anyone had any bias, because the policy clearly points out that if there's any bias one way or the other, that person has to step down. So that was solidified today, so the committee commenced its work, and I will put that information in the packet.
Thank you
the
for
Friday
doing
packet,
that.
so. That's my report.
Anything else? All right. Thank you, Mr. Gray. Now we'll move into our committee reports. First on deck is, first in line is the Technology Committee, given by Mr. McCaffrey.
Thank you, Mr. Como. The Technology Committee of the Waukesha Board of Education met on Monday, June 23rd, 2014. We had no action items on the agenda, but we did have 3 information items. We received updates on the Waukesha One initiative, the implementation of Infinite Campus, which is our new SIS system, and the installation of the new phone system. In your packet, you received the presentation that Steve Schulman gave to the committee, so I'm going to hit, I'm assuming everybody looked through it, but I'm going to hit a couple points on each one of the information items. I'm going to start with Waukesha 1. Wave 1 and 2 are fully implemented, and to date, we have distributed 4,821 devices. We are going to make a couple changes, little tweaks to Waukesha 1, the implementation, for cost-saving purposes. Right now, we pay for insurance on the devices, and we had about 400 issues, breakage issues with the devices, which is about 8.3%. For us to fix those, it would have cost us about $40,000. The issue that we're having is our insurance is quite a bit more than that. We paid actually $111,000 in insurance. So we are going to actually implement self-insurance so we can see some cost avoidance on that. Another tweak that's coming, and this is coming mainly because of Apple. In Wave 2, we had to move to the iPad Airs. Apple was having a production issue with their iPad 4s, and we were forced to switch. Unfortunately, the the iPad Airs are a little bit more expensive than the 4s. Apple has since rectified their production issues, and we will be switching back to the iPad 4s, which will save us about $600,000 on the program. Wave 3 will be starting shortly. Staff devices have already been distributed, and student devices will be distributed beginning mid-August, and the rollout will be finished up around mid-September. Wave 4 rollout is targeted for December, actually for January 2015. Staff devices have already been distributed, and professional development is ongoing. Wave 5, which is the last wave, will be scheduled for spring of 2015. That could be pushed out potentially to fall of 2015. But we are right now targeting spring 2015. There was a program that we initiated this year, and it was called the Take Home Program, which allowed students to take home the devices that they had for the summer. The reason that we did this is because the apps are still usable on the devices. Some teachers had summer reading programs and whatnot to keep the, the students involved in learning. Summer's a long time, and, there is a certain amount of drain that does happen to the students. The take-home actually was very popular. Out of the over 4,800 devices, only 127 were turned back in, so it was a very popular program. That 127 was mainly because the parents didn't want to have to deal with the device in the house, or it was a child that was not coming back to the school district next year. We also received a report on Infinite Campus, which we have talked about in the past. That's our new SIS system. It's going to be replacing Zango. Zango was frozen into a read-only application on June 25th, which basically means there will be no data massaging within that tool after the 25th of June. The cutover for Infinite Campus actually was scheduled for today. I have not received the update from Steve yet. My assumption is that it went well. I'll know more tomorrow morning. I'm sure you'll send the updates out to everybody.
Is Steve going to sleep tonight?
Probably not.
And his team?
Probably not. There's a lot at stake there. We did have a small issue to overcome with the Infinite Campus because our academic options program in the high school created a small issue scheduling for us in Infinite Campus, but that was overcome. We'll also be incorporating our food service point of sale system within Infinite Campus so we can continue to consolidate our operations into one tool. We also received an update on the phone system. As everybody knows, and I've talked about in the past, we have switched out our analog phone system to a VoIP phone system, which is basically voice over internet, which means that our calls will be placed through the internet instead of over a traditional landline. The system is up and running and functioning. The phones have all been installed. They're video phones, so it's quite a big leap compared to the technology that we had before. The installation went fine. There are a couple things that the new phone system will help us with. With the old phone system, rooms were issued numbers. So for instance, if a teacher was at a higher and he or she moved to Rose Glen, it was an issue because the phone number left behind.
Yeah.
It was left behind at higher. Now, actually, the phone number will be assigned to the actual person. So if someone leaves from one school to another, there will be no need to switch phone numbers. The phone number will actually follow them. So there will be no updating of.
And that is a labor cost savings
Yes.
for us. We had a half of an FTE or a full FTE
Yes.
assigned just to moving phones around
Yep.
our district.
Yep.
One person,
And updating
that's all that
directories
person
and-
did.
Yeah. So it will be I don't know if a cost savings, but that person
There-
will be redirected.
You are correct.
the
It's-
Resources in
We are
other
not
directions.
cutting that.
Right, we are
We're
not.
redeploying that person and their
That is
skills,
correct.
yep.
That is correct. And that concludes my report, unless somebody has any questions.
I do.
Mrs. Brezink.
Ms. Brezink.
You may think it's a silly
No.
question, but so does that mean if I call central office at 8 o'clock in the morning and, I still have my bathrobe on, that,
Depends on whose phone you get.
Yeah,
does that mean that
somebody's
somebody's gonna get a
You
chance
need to
to
be
see
careful. Let's just put it that way.
the CAG look?
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
nice.
Nothing wrong with that.
Wonderful. So I'm gonna have to get up, get dressed,
Yeah,
look nice, and then make my calls.
especially if you want a video conference.
You don't have one of those phones, though.
You,
Oh,
you
thank
need
God.
one of those phones.
Oh, thank God.
However,
You're safe, Barbara.
I
Oh.
will say,
FaceTime.
I will say that because we are switching our phone system, you will be able to call via your laptop if you have a camera.
Oh,
Or any other device. So,
Hmm.
so you could, if you wanted to.
Well, we have
Son
brought
of a gun.
essentially the technology that we were using in our old system, basically is 25-year-old technology, so
Yeah.
we've been brought up to speed. Any other questions? Dr. Langell?
Thank you. Well, regarding phones, I think, just from my personal experience, if we get an answer at a school, I'll just be thrilled. Because half the time, at least, maybe 80% of the time, you call the school and you get blah, 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 blah,
very
voicemail, that's
true.
it. You can't get a human being. And I know it's untoward, and I don't want to get on anybody's terror list, but I know when my kids were in school at one point, somebody said to me in jest, another mother, she said, if I had a bomb threat to call into that school, I could never get through. I mean, but she was right. I mean, she said that in a group of mothers there at some point, because we just could never get through. However, I'm sure with this system, it'll probably be better. And then,
Well, we didn't hire anybody to answer the phones, we just put the phone.
I know, it's just technology. And then I'm the one that's guilty of passing this around to you, because I do watch for things that warn us about some of the downsides of technology, and not that I don't like Waukesha One, I do. But a lot of studies are going on now because so many school districts are going heavy into iPads and so forth. And of course, this particular article that you have is directed more toward how many kids sit at home in summer when they should be out playing and play with video games, and all that stuff. But tests now are being run at a lot of universities on what the effect of some of this is. And I just think, when I see articles, I'll bring them in, because I think it's something that our parents should know more about, and our teachers and our students. And we've certainly seen the downside of some high-impact belief in technology that shouldn't be there. So it is a real good article. It's a short one. Some of them are really long. But I'll keep watching for those and bring them in, because I think it's really good.
Thank
to
you.
be
Thank you
up
for
on
that.
that.
Thank you, Dr. Langell.
Sure.
Mr. Edlin?
I'm a little not knowledgeable in the area of the IP systems, but just maybe you could talk me through this. Now, you said that the phone number stays with the teacher,
Correct,
but the physical phone is still in the classroom?
yes.
Yes.
And then how does, if a teacher goes to a different classroom, how do you know to ring that person that's moved?
Check a box and the number rings there.
Okay,
Yep, it's that easy. It's done with the software program.
okay.
Yep.
Very good.
Smart.
Mr. McCaffrey, do you have anything else to
I
report?
do not. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to our Finance and Facilities Committee report, presented by Mr. O'Brien.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had no action items. We had 2 information items. The first item was the monthly budget report. The administration is currently in the process of booking year-end accruals. The June 2014 monthly budget report for the 2013-2014 school year will be presented when finalized as part of the audit at a later date. The year-to-date tax levy totals were reviewed, and we have received 85% of our 2013-2014 tax levy so far this year. The second informational item was on our 2014-2015 budget presentation. The 2014-2015 preliminary budget has been distributed and was presented by Lori Clifton. The budget is available for public inspection at the public library and in the district business office here at the Lindholm Building, as well as on our website. To summarize, total revenues are virtually the same as last year at $154.4 million for the general and special education funds. Salaries and fringe benefits account for 77% of all expenditures. Between the capital projects funds and the general fund, there are $3.4 million designated for facilities and site maintenance and improvement projects. This amount does not include staff labor. Based on our current estimates for state aid, we anticipate a slight reduction in equalization aid. That will generate a slight increase in proposed taxes. The mill rate is projected to be $9.32 for 2015. Last year's rate was $9.11, so that's a rise of about 21 cents. Our estimates will continue to be updated once the final numbers are known for our September pupil count. Our certified state aid and property valuation that will be released by the state in October. Next month, we will be tasked to set a public hearing date and release a budget for publication. Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. We'll move on to our Curriculum and Instruction Committee report given by Barbara Brezink.
Thank you, Mr. President. We did not have a CNI meeting this month.
Thank you. And we'll move on to our Human Resource Committee report given by Mr. Edlund.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have one action item tonight, the approval of recommended candidate for the position of Assistant Principal of North High School. The administration is recommending Chad Schroffnagel for the position of Assistant Principal of North High School, and I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you. Right. Mr. Chad Schroffnagel has leadership experience in both Associate Principal and Head Principal roles. Chad is believable, sincere, confident, and passionate about giving all students the best possible school experience. He has developed great relationships with students, teachers, and colleagues, and takes pride in his loyal commitment to those he works with. Chad has the ability to look at the big picture and works collaboratively to maintain a balanced approach for what is best for students. Mr. Schroffnagel has been the principal of Hustisburg Junior and Senior High School since 2009. Prior to that, Chad was an associate high school principal at Badger High School in Lake Geneva. Chad holds a master's degree in educational leadership administration from Marion College and a Bachelor of Science in Education from UW-Oshkosh. A confidential recommendation and resume were included in your July 3rd board packet. Salary and benefits will be according to the middle management policies. I move to approve the appointment of Chad Schroffnagel for the position of Assistant Principal of North High School.
Okay, is there a second to that motion? Second by Dr. Langell. Discussion? Mr. Bumgart?
I just have a question in that he lives quite a distance from here. Do we know if he's planning to relocate? Has he indicated anything?
I would imagine he would. I mean, we not required him
No, I know.
to do that, but I mean, I would guess he would. If you look at his resume, he's lived in different parts of the state, so
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a good hour.
yeah.
And the other thing I would mention is, again, I'm looking at the resume and I can't tell what he accomplished, so I have to trust that came out in the resume. It's just a list of things he was responsible for. I'm going to keep nagging on
Well,
it.
I mean, Chad was a finalist for West High before we selected David LaBorde, and I think he did a very nice job, a very good rapport with the students. The only issue maybe was experience with big high school, but I think overall he's going to do very well in this particular role based on what he's done at the other high schools he's been at, both Badger and Hustisburg.
Thank you.
He's really, I mean, he's had to basically run the show. I mean, it's a small, I think it's probably got 300 students in the whole high school, if that. And so he's had to be, everything from bus driver to cook to principal to, so I mean, he's got he understands what it takes to run a school, and I think he'll be a good addition to North.
Thank you.
Mrs. Brezink?
Also noted in his educational background, looks like he's got some very outstanding credentials. He's also, besides his principal certification, he has certification to be director of instruction and superintendent. Wow.
Good, I got a backup.
Didn't mean that, but I just thought that was interesting.
Any further discussion? Okay, so we're going to be voting on the approval of the recommended candidate for the position of Assistant Principal over at Waukesha North. Sue, will you take the roll?
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Steve Edlund.
Aye.
Ellen Langell. William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Barbara Brezink.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek. Aye. Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 9-0.
Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Edlund. We'll now move on to our Policy Committee report given by Ms. Madden.
We this month. As Superintendent Gray said, we did have a meeting scheduled for July 15th, but we only have 2 very short matters that can actually wait another month, so if we don't reschedule.
Or even later July, we'll try to find a date that works for everyone.
If we can, we'll meet later in July, otherwise it'll be August.
Okay.
That ends my report for that.
Well, thank you very much. Wow. Well, that is,
Joe, if anybody's interested, I happen to have a couple brochures left over on the golf outing. And by the way, you can go to just dinner. You don't have to come and play golf.
correct,
Although we would love to see you out there.
correct. Yes.
Oh,
Pat, did you want
Pat, Pat, you and I can do that.
Ms.
See
Madden?
Ryan out there.
I just have 2 comments. I would like one, yes. The kids from from STEM and South High School were at our Kiwanis meeting with their robot, and they volunteered to come with that during the summer months, and they gave a great program to us, so I just wanted to acknowledge that. And I think that the kids that went to National sent everybody a card, which is totally unbelievable. First one I've gotten, so that,
Well, in this day
the kids.
of email, right, a handwritten letter, postcard, note, those are rare.
Yep.
And they stand out.
Yep.
You sure did.
They were pretty smart young people, this particular person, this young man. All right, is there any other business? That concludes our meeting. We stand adjourned.
Oh, my.